On September 10th, 2024, the National Dense Breast Disclosure Law was officially confirmed at the Legislative Building in the Connecticut State Capitol. This national bill affirms the vision of the late Dr. Nancy Cappello, mandating mammography centers to disclose breast density status to all patients. This act reduces the propensity for misleading false negatives that may lead to inaction and potential cancer cases. The organization called Are You Dense Advocacy initiated this congressional campaign alongside the support of state and federal legislators like Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro and a vast majority of lawmakers to this historical landmark. Today marks an important upgrade in women's health.
You're watching CTN, the Connecticut Network, connecting you to state government since 1999.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donna Johnson. I am president of the Are You Dense Board of Directors, and I'm so happy to see so many of you here. It's just great. Well, today we celebrate for the nation what Connecticut, Are You Dense, and Nancy Cappello started. And there is no better way than to listen to Nancy herself. So this is a video we have from 2009. It was on the news when the first Connecticut bill passed.
Did you know that every 8 seconds, somewhere in the world, a woman is diagnosed with breast cancer?
Here in Connecticut, experts say we have the third highest number of breast cancer cases in the nation.
Startling statistics, and just another reason why October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, is so important. Lawmakers praised one Connecticut woman who is leading the fight.
Our heroine, Nancy Cappello.
Nancy Cappello isn't used to being the center of attention.
This extraordinary woman has just been unbelievable in getting the word out.
Today, the breast cancer survivor was praised by state lawmakers not just for inspiring new legislation in the fight against breast cancer, but demanding it.
So I pledged at the time that I was going to make sure that no other woman would ever have to suffer the tragedy of a late-stage diagnosis.
That's because despite doing everything right and getting her yearly mammograms in 2004, Nancy found herself fighting for her life. Her doctor found a lump in her breast, even though she had just gotten a normal mammogram.
2 weeks after my happygram report that said I was fine, I found myself having a breast biopsy with stage 3C breast cancer.
Doctors told Nancy she has dense breast tissue, which can make it harder to detect cancer in mammograms, but something an ultrasound or MRI would have picked up.
What I was so outraged about was that this information was known in the medical community, but was not known to the everyday layperson like me.
Because of Nancy, the guessing game will now be over. As of tomorrow, doctors will be required by law to tell women whether or not they have dense breast tissue and how that could impact the results of their mammograms.
And this was my pledge 5 years ago. Women will now in the state of Connecticut be aware of their breast density,
giving women the power and knowledge to perhaps one day save their own life.
I love Sister Nancy. Just here to celebrate her today and Joe's accomplishments today. It's just a wonderful day. And just so happy to see this law go national, and it's just an amazing accomplishment. She said, I am going to help other women to try to avoid what I went through when she got the revelation of Are You Dense breast tissue, and the love that she had for other women, and how many lives that are being saved and are going to be saved now with this national law just touches my heart.
When Nancy was diagnosed with cancer after going for regular mammograms, she had not been informed of dense breast tissue and alternative tests. Today we celebrate the law that gives women across the nation access to the information on whether they have dense breast tissue so that they in turn can take the opportunity to make the choice of how to protect their health and their well-being. In her unwavering and determined ambition to create a fair playing field for women with dense breast tissue, Nancy and her organization fought hard to achieve this life-saving information for women. I only wish she was here to celebrate this achievement. Although Nancy may not have been physically here, I want to thank her for the lives that she will assuredly save due to this legislation.
It's a fabulous day today. You know, here we are 20 years after Nancy and I went ahead and decided to do something about the tragedy that happened to her. It was 20 years ago. Now, it was in a room just down the hall. We did the first public hearing for Are You Dense? And we couldn't believe that most people didn't understand our plight. Legislators, doctors, you know, everybody, except people who believed in us and believed in our mission and are here today. People who have been with us for the 20 years that we've been fighting for breast density legislation. And we had people come to us after and say, you know, I can't believe this. Why is this a situation? Why can't something be done? I said, that's why we're here. We are lay people having to tell physicians how to do their job. It's unbelievable. How could this be? And here we are, lay people, and that's why we had a lot of opposition, because we're not in our realm. We were just lay people. And so that carried on, and that was 20 years ago. And by the way, I just realized that we're live streaming, right? Are we live streaming, Heidi?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm impressed. It's like, this is international here. That means I'm going to talk a little longer. Pretty cool.
Nancy was the type of person, she was intelligent and caring, related to all people from all walks of life. And this was so impressive to me. My wife and I were so blessed to have Joe and Nancy as dear friends. Through her battle with cancer, she was so thankful for Joe, for her faith, for her job, her family and friends, and she was determined to help other women so they would have a leg up against the cancers that were hiding behind the dense breast tissues. Nancy would often attend events at UConn Waterbury. I was the director at the Waterbury campus for many years, and we would have a lot of time to talk. I would ask Nancy how she was holding up while she was dealing with this cancer inside of her. She was focused and frustrated on how long it took to get through the bureaucratic bloat up here and getting a law like this passed. I don't know if I could ever handle what Joe and Nancy have been through. These two friends have made a world of difference and a better place for all women. Nancy's legacy is alive, it thrives, and I'm blessed to call her my friend. God bless you, Nancy. Thank you. Yeah.
I am one whose routine mammogram failed to detect my malignant tumor, and it read as normal. Thanks to Nancy and her work with Are You Dense, received additional screening in the form of an ultrasound to determine an accurate diagnosis. I am one of the countless women who has faced the struggle and continues to reveal the best-kept secret by educating others about breast density and individual breast health. Who am I? I am a survivor. Thank you, Nancy Cappello.
Years ago, even women with small breast cancers would have radical surgeries and big outlook in terms of complication, pain, and suffering. And a lot of those women didn't do well because we just didn't have the technology. So here we are, 2024, and more people by far survive than ever have in the past. Yes, there are more humans on this planet, and therefore there are more cases every year found. But more of those women are doing well. So when we as healthcare professionals first come into contact with women who have diagnosed, we communicate how advanced their situation is by this word stage. Unfortunately, a lot of you are familiar with that word as it pertains to your own journey, but stages incorporate characteristics of the patient's presentation, the size of their tumor, whether it's gone to their lymph nodes, and whether it's gone beyond the lymph nodes. So the lower the stage, the less advanced the cancer is. In my own practice and in the field of breast cancer treatment, our goal is education. And doing what Are You Dense has done very successfully, getting the word out. So what do we strive for? Teaching women how to do self-exams. Get your mammogram at 40, and if you have dense breasts, get your ultrasound too. And last but certainly not least, identifying women who are at higher risk than the average gal, reaching out, finding them, helping them early.
I had a bilateral mastectomy, 8 rounds of chemo, 28 days of radiation. I was declared cancer-free. Fast forward really quick, 2 years ago, 2 years in 2015, I found out by pure accident on a scan that my cancer had metastasized, and it was in my liver, and I became stage 4, and didn't know if I'd get to see my 40th birthday, which was a month later. Our family's always been very involved with raising funds and awareness for breast cancer. It's very near and dear to our family. We've lost some people and friends. But when we started doing our homework, we realized that most breast cancer organizations give about 7% to the cure for research. And that didn't sit very well with us. So we decided we were going to start our own thing, Breast Friends Fund, and give 100% to research. I'm so thankful that I was friends with Nancy at the time, who was the queen of fundraising and running her own organization. And I remember, you know, telling her what our idea was, and her encouraging us, and saying how hard it was, but you know, she found such joy in it. And one thing that always stuck with me, and we've been doing this now for 9 years, is you are nobody without your people, so don't have an ego. You need your people, you need your support, and I've always thought of that and the Lord. And that was one thing Nancy and I shared, like our faith is impeccable, and she believes, you know, God got her through things, and I believe that I am here because I'm not supposed to be. The statistics say 2 years, and I am on my 17th line of treatment. I'll be in treatment for the rest of my life, but I am here almost 10 years later, so God is good. Thank you, Joe, for giving me this honor, and thank you all.
In 1968, my mother, at 50 years old, heard those words, "You have breast cancer." In 1972, she passed away from metastatic breast cancer. It's a long time ago. It's a time when you never mentioned breast in public. You remember those days? And you sure as heck didn't put it together with cancer. And that fact alone has hindered over the years the progress that was made in treating breast cancer. Today, thanks to the work that Nancy has done and people like her, that no longer exists. Today, we're not afraid to mention the word breast, and we're not afraid to say, I have breast cancer. I'm honored. Seymour Pink is honored to be here today, to be part of this incredible day, to be part of what Nancy did in Are You Dense, and the lives that she's saved, not just in Connecticut, not just in this nation, but as so many people have already said, globally. We, Seymour Pink, have raised to date over $5 million in the fight against breast cancer. If you read yesterday, Princess Kate, she came out after her chemotherapy. She wanted to share her experience to date. I liked what she said. In her words, life as you know it can change in an instant, and we have to find a way to navigate the stormy waters and the road unknown. Seymour Pink is one of those ways to navigate the waters and the road unknown. We have been honored to work with Are You Dense, to be partnered with Brave at Heart. The support that is out there now for breast cancer patients is incredible. And we should not, as Sandy said, we should not let ego, we should not let pride get in the way of us being able to reach out for help.
This law is a bold step, and it's expected to set an international precedent. It already has an international precedent without this law, because Nancy traveled all over the world to spread the message about breast density in Japan and Germany and Italy and France, and I traveled a lot of places being her bodyguard. You know, she needed one. And so, you know, with traveling in all those areas, she spread the word about breast density. Today, this law will become effective nationwide, ensuring that women across the country have access to this essential information of breast density. This law showcases Connecticut's commitment to women's health and its determination to make a positive impact on a national scale by raising awareness about breast density and empowering women with knowledge. Lives can be saved, and the overall well-being of women can be improved. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're here for. We're here really to say thank you. Our board members are here to say thank you. In fact, why don't you raise your hands, our current board members, so people know who you are. These girls work hard. Current board members.
I met Joe over the phone after I have been watching Nancy online, and I said, I've been watching your wife for a while. That didn't come out very well, but of course, when I heard the most contagious laugh, I said, that guy's going to be my friend. I was watching Nancy's videos online because she was a great educator. She's a great crusader. It's everything I've always wanted to be for cancer and cancer causes. My history is a little bit darker than others. While I'm still on this earth, I've been doing a lot in terms of research. I work with Dr. Robert Bard, who is also an advisor to Are You Dense. And what is interesting is that through my education, as well as my understanding of advocacy, what I've truly learned from organizations such as yours is never to be alone. But it also prompted me to research, to say that there are always answers. But more importantly, that there are also communities, a village like yours, which I truly admire and count on. I've been passing around your website long before I even became part of this organization, because I want to let people know that you are not alone. And I've also learned that there are a lot of people out there that do put their head in the sand. And one of my crusades is to let them know that there is hope. People do survive, and people certainly have answers. And there are those that turn their life around when they thought there was no hope. And I really appreciate Are You Dense for being that organization, and of course Nancy Cappello. And to this day, I still promote and brag about Nancy's work. I've learned about the term underserved because that was also her crusade, and it's important to be able to identify the underserved communities, the underserved woman, the underdiagnosed woman, because all of that is still real to this day. And to be able to give the cancer victim a true voice and not to diminish their fears, not to invalidate, instead to say, okay, if there's something wrong, let's help. So in closing, I am here to celebrate alongside you this milestone, but more importantly, to be able to let you know that it is such an honor to be part of a mission to raise awareness, to be an advocate, to be a crusader. You guys are my heroes. Joe Cappello is certainly one of them as well. To be able to say a crusader is not enough, to be an advocate is not enough, to be an activist is something else. You guys have pushed the envelope to be heard, to be seen, to be identified, to say, we will get the help. Lastly, I want to celebrate the fact that we have new friends, in part to our underground work of reaching out to legislators, such as State Senator Anwar, who is a great supporter of you guys now. I thank you for your time. I hope I haven't taken up the 1.5 minutes that you promised me. And once again, thank you so much.
Leonard mentioned Rosa DeLauro. She has sent a video along for us to watch.
Hello, this is Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro, representing Connecticut's 3rd Congressional District. And while I wish I could be joining you all in person for this celebration, I am grateful for the opportunity to say a few words from Washington. Today, we celebrate the launch of the Food and Drug Administration's breast density notification rule. This is something that I have been working on for a long time. This issue is deeply personal for me. I am a 35-year cancer survivor. I'm alive today thanks to the grace of God, the care of hardworking medical professionals, the power of biomedical research, and early detection. As you know, Connecticut led the way in mandating all women receive information about breast density in 2009. This law was championed by my dear friend, Dr. Nancy Cappello, who passed away several years ago due to breast cancer. 99% of women who receive an early breast cancer diagnosis survive it. But Nancy went through multiple mammograms, and doctors did not detect tumors until Nancy was told she had dense breasts. Had Nancy been notified of her status earlier, she may have been here today to celebrate with us. Nancy's husband carried on her fight, and their story inspired me. I teamed up with Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick to introduce the Breast Density and Mammography Reporting Act, requiring the Food and Drug Administration, which was ultimately signed into law in 2019. Now, the federal government is finally creating a national standard for notification. We are celebrating that progress today, while also using this moment to call attention to the fact that for most women, these screenings will still not be covered by insurance. The next step is to mandate all insurance coverage to cover screenings and diagnostic mammograms, breast ultrasounds, and breast MRIs, with no cost sharing nationwide. I reintroduced the Find It Early Act with Representative Patrick earlier this year, which would require all health insurance plans to cover screening and diagnostic mammograms, breast ultrasounds, and MRIs with no cost sharing. I'm also grateful that award-winning journalist and cancer advocate Katie Couric has continued to be a champion of this critical legislation and had the courage to share her powerful story about early detection, which has been so helpful in amplifying our efforts and reaching people across the country. The rule we are celebrating today is only one part of making screenings accessible. We must pass the Find It Early Act. Women's lives are at stake, and I will continue to fight like hell to get this bill passed. With that, I want to thank you again for inviting me to join you today. I urge you to keep up the fight. Congress is an institution that responds to external pressure. We are seeing the proof of that today, and I know that we can keep the pressure on together. Thank you.
Yes.